Hello everybody, I hope you are doing well. Let's start with the fourth chapter of the Indian polity book Lakshmikant, which is Preamble of our Constitution. Preamble, the fourth chapter of our Constitution. The date of adoption, it was adopted on 26 November 1949, and this preamble concept is first taken up by the American constitutions, and after that many countries including India followed this practice. What is preamble? It can be referred to as introduction or the preface to the constitution, maybe the summary and the essence of the constitution, or the identity card of the constitution. And then the preamble to the Indian constitution is based on the objectives resolution. Where can we find this objectives resolution? We had seen this objectives resolution in the second chapter of the Indian polity here. Objectives resolution, it was given on December 13, 1946 by Jawaharlal Nehru, where in the assembly he put up the objectives resolution which lays down the fundamentals and the philosophy of our constitutional structure. Constitution book, which is from here, and then we can also see that the concept of justice, the concept of equality, the concept of freedom is also taken from here, and the concept of integrity is also given in preamble. And this resolution was adopted in January 22, 1947, and we will see that preamble was adopted on 26 November 1949. So it was a 2-year gap between objectives resolution and our preamble. Then we see what is actually the preamble. Preamble represents we the people of India. So here itself we say that we actually follow democracy. Why? Because the source of constitution is the people itself and not any random person or a party or any other legal body. So we say that we have resolved to constitute our India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic, out of which this republic and the sovereignty was already there in objectives resolution. We also see that here there is justice, which is social, economic and political. Then we have liberty, we have equality. Liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, which we can see we have it in freedom of our fundamental rights. And then we have the article 19 here, and then we have equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote them all, these are part of fundamental rights. However, we will see the social, economic and political justice parts is there in DPSP. These are the ideal things that India should be following, and these are the things that India actually implies. And this point, the socialist, secular and integrity was added to the constitution by the 42nd Amendment Act. We will see it in the last page where it's written. We are here in the amendment page, and here we'll see in the 42nd Amendment Act what all things. See, in 42nd Amendment Act we had so many points here, but out of that we'll see that the socialist, secular and integrity was added in the preamble. Also, we can revise one thing here, that the 5 subjects from the state list to the concurrent list, that is education, forest, protection of wild animals, birds, weights and measures and administration of justice, were all inserted in this article. This is a very important question. Let's again look here, and then here we have fraternity, that signifies our brotherhood, and thus we assure the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity. So we now know that socialist, that secular and integrity was added by the 42nd Amendment Act. And then in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November, which I've already mentioned, do hereby we adopt the preamble, we enact the preamble, and we give to ourselves this constitution. We were all done all of these points on 26th day of November 1949. Then we see what are the ingredients of the preamble. See, everything that's here will have to be included here. So we will see that the source of authority is what? It's derived from the people of India. Why? Because we see here that it's we the people of India. Then you have sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, of which socialist, secular and integrity was from 42nd Amendment Act. And then we see what are the objectives. The objectives are to have justice, to have liberty, to have equality, and then the description of what all kinds of justice and what all kinds of liberty and what all kinds of equality is also mentioned here. And then the date of adoption is November 26, 1949. So the ingredients can be divided into 4 points. One is this, second is all the nature of what our preamble is, third is the objectives of our preamble, that is here, and the fourth is the date of adoption. Now, We have seen all these words, but in actual, what do these words mean in our constitution is what we have to understand here in this chapter. See, the first point, the sovereign says that the sovereign implies that India is neither a dependency nor a dominion of any other nation, and Article 1, 2 and 3 all service this point, that we are free to divide any territory or include any territory in our matters. And being a sovereign state, India can either acquire a foreign territory or cede a part of its territory in favor of a foreign state. And now, see, socialist, the constitution had a socialist content in the form of certain DPSP that we have. However, the Indian brand of socialism is what? It is a democratic socialism and not a communistic socialism. And what is the difference? That communistic socialism involves the nationalism of all means of production and distribution and the abolition of private property. So it means that all means of production and distribution and the abolition of private property. There is no concept of privatism here, the capitalism here. But democratic socialism means that we have a mixed economy where both public and private sectors coexist side by side. Thus, we have democratic socialism and there are communistic socialism that a lot of countries follow. Also, in the new year, that is in 1991, the new economic policy was brought in, where we had liberalization, privatization and globalization, which had changed the era, LPG. Then we come to secular. Secular again amended in the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. What does it say? It says that the Indian constitution embodies the positive concept of secularism, that is, religions in our country have the same status and support from the state. Then we have democratic. See, democratic is in two ways, direct democracy and the indirect democracy. The direct democracy says that the people exercise their supreme power directly, that is, example is Switzerland. What are the points here? There are four devices of direct democracy, that is referendum, initiative, recall and plebiscite. This is also given in the book. Let's quickly go through them. See, referendum is a procedure where proposed legislation is referred to the electorate for settlement by the direct votes. So, we see that the legislation is proposed and then it's referred to the electorate and the settlement is by the direct votes, which is kind of thing which we also follow. Then initiative is that people can propose a bill to the legislature that this or this such kind of initiative we want from you people. So, this is initiative. Then we have recall, where voters can remove a representative. They can recall a representative back. And then we have plebiscite, where a method of obtaining the opinion India's of people on any issue of public importance. So, we can bring these people, the public, and can get their idea or their viewpoint and their opinion. This is plebiscite. So, we have referendum, we have initiative, we have recall and we have plebiscite. Let's again look into the chapter. So, this was direct democracy, which is followed in Switzerland, where people exercise supreme power directly, and then they have the four ways. Now, what is indirect democracy? The representatives elected by the people exercise the supreme power, which is actually the case of India. And then this type of democracy is also known as representative democracy, and then representative democracy is of two types, the parliamentary democracy and the presidential democracy. And India follows representative parliamentary democracy, that is the indirect parliamentary democracy, where we have universal adult franchise, we have the periodic elections, rule of law, independence of judiciary, absence of discrimination and democratic character. These are all the features of the parliamentary democracy. Also, democratic does not just mean political democracy, we also have social and economic democracy, which is mentioned itself in the preamble here. We have social, economic and political. Then there is one good point which can be used as in your mains answer, which is what is the description of B.R. Ambedkar, why not just political and why including social and economic? Because political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it social democracy. And what does social democracy mean? Way of life which recognizes liberty, equality and fraternity. These 3 points give us that India is a social democracy also. And then principles of liberty, equality and fraternity are not to be treated as separate items in a trinity, and that they form a union of trinity in the sense that to divorce one from the other is to defeat the very purpose of democracy. And liberty cannot be divorced from equality. If you are given liberty but not equality, what is the essence of liberty? And similarly, equality cannot be divorced from liberty. Nor can liberty and equality be divorced from fraternity, because if you have liberty and if you have equality but you do not follow fraternity, you do not have any brotherhood with any other people, how will you use this liberty and equality in a good sense? And without equality, liberty would produce the supremacy of the few over many, and equality without liberty would kill the individual initiative. And then we have republic. See, in republic we have monarchy, and we have where the head of the state enjoys the hereditary position, and we have republic. India is a republic where the head of the state is always elected directly or indirectly, and India has an elected head called the president, which is elected indirectly for a period of 5 years, but we know that it is just the elected head all the powers are vested under the Prime Minister. And then republic also means two more things. One, vesting of political sovereignty in the people and not in a single individual like a king, which is there in the case of monarchy. And then we have that public offices being open to every citizen without any discrimination, which also is here under secularism, where we say that the religions in our country have the same status and support from the state. So we can say that republic and secular point of the preamble is also interconnected. Then we have justice. We again saw that justice has social, economic and political. So we'll see that social justice, what does it say? That equal treatment of all without any social discrimination based on caste, color, race, religion, sex, and it means that absence of privileges being extended to any particular section of the state. So we see that it's not just equality, but it's also privileges given to the particular section or the backward classes of our society. And then we have economic justice, where there is non-discrimination between people on basis of economic factors. Also, it involves the elimination of glaring inequalities in wealth, income and property, and a combination of social justice and economic justice is known as distributive justice, where there is equality between the social people, backward classes, also regarding their economic power, regarding their wealth and money power. And then we have political justice, where the citizens should have equal political rights. And then the ideal of the justice, the social, economic and political, has been taken from the Russian Revolution. So our preamble is taken from the objectives resolution, and the concept of the justice, which includes economic, so political, social, has been taken from the Russian, When we come to liberty, liberty means what? The absence of restraints on the activities of the individuals. So people are free to do what they want to, and at the same time they are provided the opportunities for the development of individual personalities. In brief, liberty conceived by the preamble of fundamental rights, it's not absolute but qualified. And the ideals of liberty, equality and fraternity have been taken from the French Revolution. Fraternity we'll see, equality we'll see, and liberty we've just seen. So all these points have been taken from the French Revolution, that is equality, liberty and fraternity has been taken from the French Revolution, whereas Russian Revolution we've taken the ideal of justice, and preamble is overall taken by the objectives resolution, which was given on 1947 and preamble was adopted in 1949. Then we have equality. Equality means absence of special privileges to any section of the society and provision of adequate opportunities for all individuals without any discrimination. And thus we have a lot of articles under fundamental rights, that is Article 14, Article 15 and Article 16, Article 17 and Article 18. All of these enhances our equality and its rights. Next we have fraternity. There is one more point in equality, that is there are two provisions in the constitution, that one, no person is to be declared ineligible on the grounds of religion, race, caste or sex, which is Article 325, and elections to the Lok Sabha and state assemblies to be on the basis of adult suffrage. That is, age can be a factor which you can differentiate between the people who should be voting and should not be voting, but economic means or social means to include a class or a caste or to not include a class or a caste on this basis would not be taken for granted, and this is given in Article 326. And DPSP, in DPSP the Article 39 secures to men and women equal right to an adequate means of livelihood and equal pay for equal work, which is under equality. We'll quickly see where is this article in the chapter DPSP. See, we are in the chapter DPSP and we'll quickly go through the Article 39 that was mentioned here, that to promote equal justice and to provide free legal aid to the poor, and the Article 39 has a lot of articles where it is also given that the prevention of concentration of wealth and means of production and equal pay for equal work for men and women. This is under the socialistic principles of the classification of the directive principles under point 2, Article 39. And Article 39A, you can also mention it as to promote equal justice and to provide free legal aid to the poor. Next we come to the fraternity, that is the last point of our preamble before integrity. Fraternity, as I said, it's a sense of brotherhood, and constitution promotes this feeling of fraternity by this system of single citizenship. So wherever you are in whatever state, you belong to India and not to some state. And then preamble declares that fraternity has to assure two things, that is the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity, and of which integrity was added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. Now this is an important part, significance of the preamble, and then there was a dispute whether preamble is a part of the constitution or not, and then can preamble be amended or not. These are the small 3 topics that we'll quickly go through them. See, significance of the preamble, we already know that preamble is what? Preamble is an introduction, a preface, a summary, a sense, or an identity card of the constitution. So what does it do? It embodies the basic philosophy and fundamental values of political, moral, and religious, and then has grand and noble vision of our constituent assembly, and it also reflects the dreams and aspirations of the founding fathers of the constitution at the time when they enacted the constitution. And then according to K.M. Minchi, preamble is the horoscope of our sovereign democratic republic. According to Pandit Thakur Das Bhargava, it is the most precious part of the constitution, soul of the constitution, key to the constitution, jewels set in the constitution. And then we already know that is the introduction, the preface, it is the summary, it is the essence, and according to N.A. Palkiwala, it is the identity card also. And then we have that Sir Ernest Barker described the preamble as a keynote to the constitution. And then M. Hidayatullah, former Chief Justice of India, observed preamble resembles the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America, but it is more than the declaration. It is the soul of our constitution, which lays down the pattern of our political society. It contains a solemn resolve which nothing but a revolution can alter. These are all the significance of the preamble and can be very, very useful if there is a question on anything about preamble, which you can use as an introduction or the points or your answer or your conclusion. Let's quickly go through the preamble as a part of the constitution. See, there were two disputes. There were two cases where one is Beruberi Union case and another is Kesavananda Bharati case. In Beruberi Union case, the Supreme Court said that preamble is the key to the minds of the makers of the constitution. We can directly refer to them as the key to the minds of the makers of the constitution, and some assistance at interpreting any case can be taken from the objectives enshrined in the preamble. So in Beruberi, it said that preamble shows the general purposes behind the several provisions in the constitution. But in Kesavananda Bharati case, it said that it rejected the earlier opinion and held that preamble is a part of the constitution. Whereas in Beruberi Union case, the Supreme Court had said it can show the general purpose behind the provisions. It can be a key to the mind of the constitution and everything. But apart from this recognition and its significance, the Supreme Court specifically opined that preamble is not a part of the constitution. Why? Because it was made after the constitution was completed. And then in Kesavananda, it actually rejected the earlier opinion and said that preamble is a part of the constitution, and the reason for inserting the preamble at the end was to ensure that it was in conformity with the constitution as adopted by the Constituent Assembly. And thus, the current opinion held by the Supreme Court that preamble is a part of the constitution is in consonance with the opinion of the founding fathers of the constitution. However, two things should be seen. The preamble is neither a source of power nor a prohibition upon the powers of legislature, which is actually a fundamental right, and it is non-justiciable, that its provisions are not enforceable in courts of law. Comment down whether FR is not enforceable in courts of law or enforceable, and the same with DPSP if you have an idea, or else we'll go through them when we actually go through these chapters. And then we have amendability of the preamble, whether can it be amended or not. There were a few cases like Kesavananda Bharati case, and the question whether preamble can be amended is under Article 368 of the Constitution arose for the first time in Kesavananda, where the Supreme Court made the judgment that it is a part of the constitution, and there it ruled out that no amendment is done to the basic features and that preamble is the part of the basic feature. And thus preamble has been only amended only once, so by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, that is socialist, secular and integrity. This amendment was held to be valid. Why? Because this was actually helping the preamble to be better than it is. This is the end of our chapter. We've completed preamble. Let's quickly go through them. This was the introduction, this was the text of the preamble. We saw the ingredients of the preamble, which had 1 point, 2nd point, 3rd point and the 4th point. And then we had the keywords that we went through. We went through sovereign, we went through socialist, we went through secular, we went through democratic, we went through republic, we went through justice, we went through liberty, equality and fraternity. We saw that justice was taken from Russian Revolution, we saw that liberty was taken from the French Revolution, we saw equality and fraternity also taken from French Revolution, and then we saw the significance of the preamble, we saw preamble as part of the constitution and the amendability of the preamble. This is it with the 4th chapter of the preamble of the constitution. I hope you liked my video. Thank you for watching.